Maybe you're tired. Not from a physical tiredness, but from a soul tiredness. A silent exhaustion that no one sees. The frustration of trying so hard, and still, nothing changes. You make the affirmations. You visualize. You believe that you're doing everything right. But time passes, and it seems that the universe simply doesn't respond. It's like shouting into the void. Like lighting a candle in the wind. And maybe, deep down, you're starting to doubt whether all of this really works. Is manifesting real, or just a beautiful hope that never comes true? But what if the truth is different? What if the problem isn't your desire, nor the time, but the way your vibration is communicating with life? Bruce Lipton, an epigenetics researcher, shows us that it's not what we think that shapes our reality, but what we believe without realizing it. It's not what you say to yourself consciously, but what your body vibrates in silence when no one is looking. Your biology doesn't respond to what you want, it responds to what you feel. And that changes everything. Because the field around you, the invisible field where reality is formed, doesn't connect with words. It connects with frequency. Joe Dispenza also warns us, your mind can say, I want abundance, but if your heart vibrates fear, scarcity, lack, the field registers scarcity, not desire. Because true manifestation does not happen when the mind commands. It happens when there is coherence between what you think, feel, and vibrate. And without this coherence, it is like trying to tune a radio to a station, but the dial is off frequency. You turn it, insist, but all you hear is noise. Imagine for a moment your desire is a seed. A living seed, pulsating with potential. You plant it only once. But what really matters is not opening the ground every day to see if it is sprouted. What matters is taking care of the soil. Of the surroundings. Of the vibrational silence around it. Because even the most perfect seed does not flourish in contaminated soil. And that's exactly what this video will show you, why a single action, done with total coherence between thought, emotion and frequency, can be infinitely more powerful than repeating hundreds of times a desire that you don't feel is real. You don't need to force the manifestation. You need to get on its frequency. And when that happens, when you feel like it already is, the universe has no choice. It responds. Today, let's walk together toward this understanding. And in the end, maybe you'll realize that it was never about repeating, it was about being. The invisible error of trying to manifest over and over, when repetition is vibrational sabotage. It's understandable. When something you really want doesn't happen, your mind goes into urgency mode. You repeat the affirmation. You visualize it again. You reinforce your intention. And for a brief moment, you feel like you're on the right track. But soon after, the anguish returns. And with it, the silent doubt, am I doing it wrong? Am I not asking for enough? This restlessness that arises between effort and emptiness is, in fact, what most keeps manifestation from happening. Bruce Lipton helps us understand why this happens. According to him, our cells do not obey conscious commands. They respond to the energetic environment in which they are inserted. This means that if you repeat a phrase of desire, but your vibrational field is immersed in fear, frustration, or anxiety, the body does not understand this as creation. It understands it as an alert. And the alert activates a biological defense system, not a manifestation system. This is the subtle trap. The more you push, the more you tell the quantum field unconsciously that it is not yet real. The urge to repeat comes from lack. And lack vibrates absence. The field does not respond to what you want. It responds to what you vibrate. That is why, often, the most unexpected manifestations arise when the person forgets that they asked. When they let go. When they stop looking for the result and just live in the inner state of peace. Because, in that moment, they release the field of resistance. The emotional tension dissolves. And the frequency of I already am takes the place of expectation. Imagine a seed that you plant in the ground. You don't have to dig it every day to see if it's sprouting. You don't have to shout at it to grow. All it needs is fertile soil, silent, steady, alive. Your desire is the seed. But it's the emotional state surrounding it that determines whether it will flourish or rot. When you try to manifest over and over again with anxiety, you are trying to manipulate the earth, instead of trusting the life that is pulsing beneath it. So it is not the repetition that creates. It is the vibration with which you plant. It is the emotional soil that you cultivate after you plant. And sometimes the thing that blocks the miracle the most is the fear that it won't happen. Why most people fail when they try to believe: the conflict between rational mind and emotional frequency. The mind says, I believe. But the body doesn't agree. It tightens, contracts, hesitates. And in that small difference between what one thinks and what one feels lies the greatest blockage to manifestation. You can repeat positive phrases all day long. You can tell yourself that you trust, that everything will work out, that the universe is on your side. But if, deep down, a silent part of you still expects something to go wrong, the vibrational field registers fear, not hope. And it is this misalignment between thought and feeling that prevents quantum collapse. Spiritual neuroscience has already shown that only about 5% of our conscious creation comes from the logical mind. The other 95% is anchored in memories, patterns, and emotions that live in the body. In the subconscious. Bruce Lipton is blunt when he says, you don't live what you want. You live what you were programmed to live. And that's why it's not enough to think differently. You have to vibrate differently. When you say, I hope it works, you are unwittingly announcing that you do not yet fully believe. This is the subtle language of the body. Hope often comes with doubt. True confidence does not wait. Confidence knows. It does not seek confirmation from outside. It rests within. Manifestation does not respond to what you declare with your lips, but to what you sustain with your presence. It is in the silence of the body that the universe hears your true request. Try to imagine that your wish has already happened. Not as a distant dream, but as a memory. Visualize it lightly, as if you were accessing something that is already yours. Now, observe, does your body relax or contract? The answer is there. This is your most accurate sensor. If the body is in tension, there is a part of you that is still resisting. If there is resistance, there is no quantum collapse. And without collapse, there is no manifestation. It's not about repeating until you believe it. It's about finding the inner point where your body already knows. Where emotion doesn't need words. Where everything vibrates as if it were already real. Because, in that place, creation is not an effort. It is an extension of being. Silence as a spiritual technology, why effortlessness can activate quantum collapse. There is an invisible force that arises when you stop. When your mind becomes still. When your body lets go of its urgency. It is in that instant, where there is no effort, no trying, that the quantum field begins to reorganize itself. Most people believe that manifesting requires constant mental action. That you have to visualize every day. Affirm. Repeat. But what few people understand is that there comes a point when doing becomes noise. And noise disturbs the field. Bruce Lipton reminds us that the most receptive biological state, the state where self-regulation occurs and signals from the universe can be heard, occurs at slower frequencies like alpha or theta waves. These waves only occur when the body is relaxed. When the mind slows down. There is no tension in this place. There is no control. Only presence. Imagine the water in a lake. If you dip your hand in and try to clean it with force, everything gets stirred up. The mud rises. Your vision is lost. But if you simply wait, if you let the water settle, everything returns to its natural place. Clarity does not come from effort. It comes from settling. Likewise, excessive attempts reveal a hidden intention, fear. And fear vibrates absence. Those who need to control fear loss. And those who vibrate loss reinforce the non-existence of what they desire. There is a spiritual technology in silence. Not the silence of those who give up, but the silence of those who trust. It is the silence of presence, of vibrational surrender. During this silence, there is no need to see, imagine, or create anything. Just sustain the state of already being. Walking, breathing, living, as if what you desire has already been delivered. No anxiety. No vigilance. Just inhabiting the field of certainty. It is in this empty space, where the mind does not demand, the body does not beg and the heart only vibrates, that quantum collapse happens. Because, deep down, manifestation is not caused by the strength of wanting, but by the lightness of being. Everything you experience begins within. Not in logical thought, not in external action, but in the subtle field where emotion and vibration intertwine. Bruce Lipton makes it clear to us that it is the internal environment that defines the biological response. And when this environment is in harmony, when thought, emotion, and energy align, the body enters a state of self-regulation, and the surrounding field organizes itself with the same precision. Neville Goddard invites us to realize that it is not enough to imagine, we must feel it as real. Most people imagine as they wish. But the true power lies in imagining as someone who remembers. As someone who has lived. As someone who is. This is the point where everything changes. Not because you forced it, but because you have entered the frequency of something inevitable. Manifestation does not need repetition when there is emotional clarity. You manifest once, with your whole being, and then you simply hold the vibration. It is not the strength of the drop that breaks the stone. It is the constancy, the direction, the purity of the intention. The drop does not insist with desperation. It falls with precision, always in the same place. It knows where it is going. So is your deepest desire. It doesn't need to be shouted. It just needs coherence. A clean, present, alive vibrational field. And that field starts within you. So, perhaps now you understand that it was never about repeating the request hundreds of times, but about vibrating just once with such presence, with such surrender, that the universe cannot do anything other. Then respond with the same clarity with which you felt. Because the field listens. The universe feels. And reality bows before a vibration that knows exactly who it is.